Okay, thanks for coming back for part 2 for the mountain scene we've got here. So a short clip, but very cinematic, very atmospheric. Really reminded me of almost the start to The Shining or Arrival, those type of movies where we really want to set the scene and make something that's mysterious and atmospheric. So let's go through how we built this scene up. So first thing we did was add a kind of noise Atmos track. And for this we're using the Space Glacier preset. Adjusted just very quickly, switched one of the oscillators to traditional mode and then to noise, just to thicken it up a little bit. A little bit of subtle modulation drag and dropped for the cutoff and the mix of the reverb there, just to keep the preset evolving all the time without having to do too much automation, just allowing me to move on to the next layer nice and quickly. So having got that down, I wanted something that a little melodic layer that was just going to keep the pace moving forward. So I used a high transition preset here, and you can hear this is almost like a little chord that's zipping in. So the original preset used the advanced shape here, just with a repetitive pulse, but I didn't want this to sound too repetitive. So again, I just used the drag and drop functionality of the mod system to LFO the frequency of the shape that's controlling the EQ here, which is producing this pulse. So now this pulse is not happening in a regular repetitive cadence. It's happening at different times, different durations and different moves. So that's actually quite nice again. So putting those two layers together, now we've got something that's automatically evolving nice and quickly, nice and easily, just giving us a good basis for the scene now. We need something that's going to pulse, that's going to hold the scene together, and then we'll add some melodic elements. So I'm going to move on to wanted something very trailerish, something like a kick. So came across this giant drop preset, and this was a really good start for this. So I actually switched on the second oscillator here, just to add a little bit of high frequency, a little bit of bite to help cut through the mix. Almost has a kind of spring reverb type of sound, which was good at just underpinning the whole scene. Once that was down together, I wanted to add another element that would match with that kick. So I came across this entrance preset, and it almost feels like a bit like a double bass, but a little bit more abstract, which is really cool. So there's a little pitch bend going on here, which adds this nice cinematic vibe. And that was added using the XY capture here, just myself, on top of this factory preset. Because I wanted this particular pitch bend. I didn't want to automate it in the DAW, because I wanted the whole thing just to loop nice and easily. So I used the capture feature here with 2 bars, and then use that to adjust the detune of the oscillator and the gain, just to give it that little characteristic pitch bend. Now put together with the kick, we've now got something that just underpins the whole scene. Gives us this sense of dread. It could be fine just to leave it with those layers. That could actually work, depending on on your taste. I kind of felt it needed a little bit more. So just to punctuate the entrance to the scene, I used the bowed string scrape preset, which sounds a bit like this. So this is using what looks like a bowed guitar, and the advanced shape is then zipping through that file using the granular oscillator. So it's got this really metallic, unusual, more organic type of sound coming out of the concept plugin here, and using that just at the start to kind of enter the scene, and then quietly at the end to exit it. So moving on, needed another element that was going to be a little more atmospheric again. So I found a preset here called Ghosts that I really liked. And it's very ghostly, obviously, and unusual. It made me feel like it fitted the mist in the scene there. So what's happening under the hood here? We've got the Convolution Reverb that's got a vocal sample in it, that kind of pulsing vocal sample. So this gives you this very ghostly feel. So if I turn this off, the preset sounds very, very different. It's more like a kind of stab almost. Adding the reverb back in, you've got this ghostly vocal character, and you get a little bit of rhythmic evolution as well. So I wanted to take that rhythmic feel even further, so I added the ring modulator, using it more like a kind of pulsing mechanism, not an actual ring mod. Now, adding a little bit of panning modulation in the DAW allowed that to move around the scene and give you this really unusual, like, ghostly quality. And then just for the final layer, I wanted something pad-like, but again, atmospheric, unusual. So came across the Destroyed Dream preset, which you can hear is very interesting, very unusual. It can be really aggressive actually with the mod wheel up, but bringing that down to 0 got this really nice distant pad that I felt fitted really well with the scene. And so again, it's using a distorted guitar chord in the Convolution Reverb to create this otherworldly atmosphere, which I think works really nicely in the track. So, putting everything together, this is what we have. Thanks for coming back and watching this third part of the Maiden concept series.